The USS Blackstar drifted silently in the cold void, a sleek symbol of Earth's growing presence among the stars. Its massive hull reflected the distant glow of a red giant star, casting long shadows across its surface. This was no ordinary ship. It was the Earth Federation's newest battleship, a pinnacle of human engineering and determination. Inside, the hum of machinery and the quiet chatter of the crew filled the corridors, creating a steady rhythm against the endless silence outside. The galaxy was on edge. For years, humans had watched from the sidelines as two great alien coalitions waged war across countless systems, their battles raging like storms that threatened to tear apart the fragile piece of space. But humanity had stayed cautious, preferring to observe and prepare rather than rush into a conflict far beyond their reach. Until now. The Blackstar was more than a ship. It was humanity's declaration that they would no longer remain passive. Every person aboard knew that this mission could change the course of history or end it. Captain Janelle Reyes stood on the bridge, her gaze steady and sharp as she studied the starfield before her. She was a woman shaped by years of challenges, both personal and professional. Her calm exterior hid the weight of responsibility she carried. Every decision she made could mean life or death, not just for her crew, but for all of humanity's future in the stars. The crew, numbering over 1,000 souls, came from every corner of Earth. They were soldiers, scientists, engineers, and diplomats all rolled into one. Each had trained tirelessly for this moment, but none could say they fully understood what awaited them beyond the ship's reinforced hull. The war they were about to enter was unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Alien technology pulsed with strange energies, and enemies fought with tactics that defied human logic. Yet despite the uncertainty, there was a spark in the eyes of the crew, hope, determination, and an unshakable belief that humanity's greatest strength was its spirit. As the Blackstar prepared for its first mission, tension hung thick in the air. The corridors buzzed with activity, but beneath the surface, questions swirled. Would they be ready? Could they survive what was coming? The Earth Federation had sent the Blackstar to the edge of known space, a frontier where few dared to venture. The ship's sensors scanned endlessly for signs of danger while the crew drilled themselves to perfection. Commander Reyes knew that no amount of training could prepare them fully, but she also knew that hesitation would be their downfall. Her voice was steady as she addressed her officers, reminding them that the unknown was not a curse, but a challenge to be met head-on. The ship's engineers worked late into the night, fine-tuning the engines and weapons systems. Scientists pored over data streams, searching for any clue that might give humanity an edge. Every corner of the Blackstar hummed with focused energy. Outside the ship, the stars moved silently, indifferent to the fragile lives aboard. Yet, somewhere in the dark between the stars, enemy eyes watched as well. Unknown fleets lurked in the shadows, waiting to test the mettle of this new player in their deadly game. Back on the bridge, Captain Reyes stood by the viewport, her mind racing with possibilities. She thought of Earth, a small blue world filled with hope and conflict, in equal measure. Now that world's fate rested on the shoulders of this ship and its crew. She felt the weight of history pressing down on her but refused to let it crush her spirit. Instead, she focused on what made humanity special: resilience, creativity, and an unbreakable will to survive. The Blackstar was ready to prove that. Against all odds, humans could stand strong even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. As the ship's AI announced the start of their first jump through hyperspace, a hush fell over the bridge. The stars stretched and blurred, colors shifting and warping as the ship leaped forward. This was the moment when the calm ended and the storm began. Every heartbeat on the Blackstar echoed with the promise of something greater, a fight not just for survival, but for humanity's place among the stars. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, united by a single goal: to show the universe that when humans fought, no enemy lived to tell the tale. The sudden crackle of the communication console shattered the tense silence aboard the USS Blackstar, sending a ripple of alert through the crew. A distress signal had come in from a nearby human outpost, one that had long been considered a quiet research station on the edge of Federation space. The message was brief, but urgent. The outpost was under heavy attack from an unknown alien fleet, its defenses overwhelmed and its people in desperate need of aid. The words echoed through the command center like a thunderclap, instantly pulling Commander Janelle Reyes from her measured focus to the hard reality of war. Orders had been clear and strict: stay out of the conflict, observe, but do not engage. Earth was still cautious, unwilling to ignite a war it was not fully prepared for. Yet staring at the flickering display that showed the outpost's coordinates surrounded by enemy vessels, Reyes felt the old instinct surge within her. A call to protect, to fight, to stand up for humanity's dignity and the innocent lives under threat. Against the weight of protocol and the risk of severe consequences, she made a choice. The Blackstar would intervene. As the crew scrambled into action, the ship's corridors came alive with a focused energy born of urgency and purpose. Engineers fine-tuned weapon systems, tactical officers plotted attack trajectories, and medical teams prepared for casualties. Each person knew this was more than a mission. It was humanity's first real test against an enemy that seemed to come from a place beyond imagination. The Blackstar powered forward, its engines humming with restrained power as it pushed toward the danger. Outside the reinforced viewports, the cold void suddenly seemed charged with menace. The alien fleet appeared like a dark shadow against the star-speckled background, sleek, fast, and unlike anything Earth scientists had ever described. Their ships moved with a silent, deadly precision, radiating an energy signature that was unfamiliar and unsettling. These were no simple raiders but a force designed for war, efficient and merciless. Yet despite their advanced technology, the aliens had not anticipated the arrival of the Blackstar. The humans' approach was bold and unorthodox, leveraging tactics that combined sharp intuition with quick adaptation. The crew of the Blackstar was a well-oiled machine, each member responding instinctively to threats and opportunities alike. When the enemy launched their first salvo of energy blasts, the Blackstar's shields flared to life, absorbing the impact with a brilliance that lit up the darkness of space. Instead of retreating, Commander Reyes ordered a counterstrike, sending out swarms of drones designed to disrupt enemy sensors and communications. The sudden change caught the alien commanders off guard, creating confusion among their ranks. Using this moment, the Blackstar maneuvered swiftly, weaving through the enemy formations with an agility that seemed impossible for a ship of its size. Human creativity showed in every move, feints that baited enemy vessels into traps, unexpected bursts of speed that exploited gaps in the enemy line, and coordinated strikes targeting the weak points of alien warships. The battle was fierce and relentless. Alarms blared as enemy projectiles grazed the Blackstar's hull, and the crew worked tirelessly, communicating in rapid bursts and responding to every threat with calm precision. The engineers rerouted power to reinforce shields. The gunners calibrated their weapons for maximum effect, and the medical staff stood ready to tend to any injuries. Despite the danger, the atmosphere on board was electric with determination. This was not just survival, it was a statement. Slowly but surely, the tide turned. One by one, enemy ships began to falter. Explosions blossomed against the starry backdrop, as human firepower found its marks. The alien fleet, confident at first, now scrambled to regroup, their disciplined formations breaking apart under the relentless human assault. As the battle raged on, the Blackstar's crew showed their greatest strength, not just their advanced technology but their unity and quick thinking. When an enemy vessel attempted to flank the ship, a squadron of human fighters launched from the Blackstar's hangar bays, intercepting and driving back the threat. Meanwhile, the tactical officers on the bridge recalculated attack vectors on the fly, coordinating multiple strikes that overwhelmed the enemy's defenses. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours as the clash of steel and energy played out across space. Finally, the remaining alien ships retreated into the darkness, their fleet shattered and scattered. The Blackstar had won its first battle, but there was no time to celebrate. Commander Reyes knew that this victory was only the beginning. The aliens would learn from this defeat, grow more cautious, and perhaps more ruthless. The war that had seemed distant was now real, and humanity had just stepped into the storm. The crew gathered briefly on the bridge, faces a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had proven their worth, but they also understood the price of this new role. Out there, in the vast expanse of the universe, enemies waited, watching and planning their next moves. Yet amidst the uncertainty, a sense of pride blossomed. The Blackstar was no longer just a ship. It was a beacon of human spirit and ingenuity. And under Commander Reyes's steady leadership, the crew was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Blackstar set course back toward the Federation outpost to offer aid and gather information, the captain took a moment to look out into the endless starfield. Somewhere out there, the enemy fleet was regrouping, but now, they knew humanity was not to be underestimated. The Blackstar's first contact had been brutal, unexpected, and victorious, and it had changed everything. The war was no longer a distant story. It was here, and humanity had entered the fight with a force no one could ignore. The news of the USS Blackstar's stunning victory spread like wildfire across the war-torn sectors of the galaxy, shaking the foundations of the ongoing conflict in ways no one had predicted. For years, humans had been seen as newcomers, cautious observers who lacked the firepower or experience to make a real difference in a war fought by ancient and powerful alien coalitions. Yet, after the Blackstar's bold intervention and crushing defeat of a highly advanced enemy fleet, that perception changed overnight. Whispers of the humans' unexpected prowess and the fierce determination of their ship began to ripple through enemy ranks and allied forces alike, turning the Blackstar into a symbol of new hope and a growing threat. The Earth Federation, recognizing the opportunity, wasted no time. High Command decided to put the Blackstar at the forefront of their efforts, tasking Captain Janelle Reyes and her crew with leading a special strike team designed to exploit the enemy's vulnerabilities and weaken their hold over the contested regions. The responsibility was enormous, but so was the confidence in the crew's skill and resolve. The Blackstar underwent modifications to carry new experimental technology developed by human scientists, stealth modules that could mask the ship's signature, advanced drone swarms for reconnaissance and sabotage, and AI-driven targeting systems that allowed for rapid adaptation during combat. These tools, combined with human ingenuity and unpredictability, gave the strike team an edge that no enemy had seen before. Each mission was carefully planned but flexible, allowing the Blackstar's commanders to change tactics on the fly and keep their foes off balance. The first raid of this new campaign took the crew deep into enemy-held space, targeting a vital supply depot responsible for fueling one of the alien coalition's most powerful fleets. Under the cloak of stealth, the Blackstar approached silently, its crew tense but focused. When the time came, they unleashed a devastating series of attacks that crippled the depot's defenses, destroyed key fuel reserves, and left the enemy scrambling to respond. These raids were not just about firepower. They were lessons in precision, timing, and exploiting every weakness the enemy revealed. Each success sent shockwaves through the opposing forces, forcing them to divert ships and resources to guard supply lines and communication hubs that had once seemed secure. As the Blackstar continued its campaign, the aliens grew more desperate. The once confident commanders who had dismissed humanity now faced a foe they could not easily predict or defeat. Intelligence reports showed increased patrols and more aggressive tactics aimed at locating and destroying the Blackstar. Ambushes were set and traps laid, but the human crew remained one step ahead, their quick thinking and team coordination allowing them to evade or overcome every threat. Tensions in the galaxy rose steadily. In secret meeting rooms on distant worlds, alien leaders debated how to handle the unexpected human challenge. Some called for all-out attacks to crush the Blackstar, while others suggested cautious diplomacy to avoid opening a wider conflict. Meanwhile, back on the ship, the crew faced their own challenges. Long days and sleepless nights tested their endurance, and the pressure of knowing they carried the hopes of humanity weighed heavily. Commander Reyes, however, never wavered in her leadership. She pushed her crew to stay sharp and united, reminding them that every mission brought them closer to securing a safer future for Earth and all its people. The Blackstar was no longer just a battleship. It had become a symbol of resilience and the human spirit's refusal to back down. Despite the dangers, there were moments of camaraderie and quiet strength. Crew members shared stories and dreams, finding comfort in their shared purpose. Each victory, no matter how small, strengthened their resolve. And though the war around them raged on, the humans aboard the Blackstar believed in their ability to shape its course. The turning point had arrived, and with it, the realization that humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. It was a force to be reckoned with. The call came suddenly, cutting through the steady hum of the USS Blackstar's operations, with a sharp urgency that filled every corner of the ship. Aegis Station, one of humanity's most important outposts, was under siege. Situated on the edge of Federation space, this station was more than just a cluster of metal and machines. It was a beacon of human presence, a hub for research, defense, and communication that held critical strategic value. For months, it had stood as a fragile line of defense against the encroaching alien coalitions, but now it faced an overwhelming threat. A massive enemy armada had gathered in the nearby system, confident that with the Blackstar isolated and far away, the station would fall without resistance. The gravity of the situation settled heavily over the Blackstar's crew as the command came through. Defend Aegis Station at all costs. Commander Janelle Reyes stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the starfield where the enemy fleet had begun to assemble like a dark storm on the horizon. She knew that the coming battle would test every skill and ounce of courage her crew possessed. With steady determination, she addressed them, reminding everyone that humanity's greatest power was not just technology, but spirit, the will to fight for what was right, no matter the odds. The crew, though weary from countless missions, found new strength in her words. The corridors filled with a renewed energy as preparations went into overdrive. Weapon systems were calibrated, defensive shields enhanced, and fighters readied in their hangars. The Blackstar's engineers worked tirelessly, ensuring that every system operated at peak capacity, while tactical officers pored over data, searching for weaknesses in the enemy formation. Outside, the enemy fleet was vast and imposing. Hundreds of alien warships surrounded the station, their shapes unfamiliar and intimidating. They moved with precision and confidence, clearly expecting an easy victory. Their leaders communicated through encrypted channels, mocking the humans' chances and planning the final assault that would crush Aegis Station and send a message to the Earth Federation. Yet, as the first missiles and energy blasts tore through space toward the station, the Blackstar responded with a grace and ferocity that stunned the attackers. Commander Reyes directed the ship through a series of clever maneuvers designed to confuse and divide the enemy. The Blackstar darted through the chaos, using the station's powerful shields as both shield and sword. The crew's teamwork was flawless. Gunners struck with precision, engineers rerouted power in moments, and pilots launched fighter squadrons that danced among enemy vessels, disrupting their formations. Every move seemed to anticipate the enemy's next step, turning their confidence into hesitation. The battle raged on with heart-pounding intensity. Explosions lit the void in brilliant flashes, and the deafening alarms aboard. The Blackstar reminded all that their survival was at stake. Still, the crew never faltered. The humans fought not just for a station or a war, but for the future of their world. Throughout the fierce combat, Commander Reyes maintained a calm presence, her leadership a steady beacon amid the storm. She reminded the crew that courage was contagious and that every small victory added to the hope that had begun to spread among humanity's scattered forces. As the enemy's armada began to falter, their attacks growing more frantic and disorganized, it became clear that the Blackstar's tactics were working. One by one, enemy ships fell back, their losses mounting as human fighters pressed their advantage. The defenders of Aegis Station, bolstered by the Blackstar's protection, rallied with renewed hope, repairing shields and reinforcing weak points under the watchful eye of their protectors. Finally, as the enemy fleet retreated into the dark depths of space, silence settled over the battlefield. The station remained intact, its lights shining brightly against the backdrop of stars. The victory was more than a military success. It was a turning point that lifted the spirits of all who heard the news. Across the galaxy, transmissions carried the tale of the Blackstar's triumph, inspiring other human outposts and ships to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. Commander Reyes and her crew knew the war was far from over, but this battle proved something vital. Humanity could endure, adapt, and overcome even the greatest threats. As the Blackstar set course to regroup and prepare for what lay ahead, the crew shared a quiet pride. Their courage had turned the tide, and in doing so they had ignited a flame of hope that would burn brighter than any star. The USS Blackstar had become a legend in the stars, its name whispered in awe and fear across distant worlds and alien empires. After months of relentless battles and daring missions, the ship and its crew had proven something that no one had expected. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Their victories were not just about power or technology. They were about the human spirit, the courage, resilience, and unpredictability that allowed them to face overwhelming odds and emerge victorious. Reports of the Blackstar's exploits reached the highest councils of the alien coalitions, stirring something new in their approach to the war. For the first time, enemy leaders, once dismissive and arrogant, began to reconsider their strategies. Instead of rushing blindly into battle, they opened channels for dialogue, proposing ceasefire talks that acknowledged humanity's growing influence and honorable conduct in war. These were not signs of weakness, but signs of respect. Commander Janelle Reyes sat quietly in her quarters, the weight of the past battles pressing on her thoughts. She reflected on the incredible journey, from the early days when humanity watched cautiously from the sidelines, uncertain of their place in the galaxy, to the present, where the Blackstar stood as a symbol of strength and hope. She thought of her crew, every person who had sacrificed, fought, and persevered alongside her. Their courage had reshaped the course of history and secured a future where humanity was no longer just observers, but key players in the interstellar balance of power. The path had been difficult, filled with danger and loss, but it had forged a new identity for mankind. They were not simply survivors. They were protectors, innovators, and fighters who would defend their home and allies against any threat. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's resolve, and it had changed everything. As talks for peace began in neutral space, representatives from the Earth Federation and alien coalitions met, exchanging terms that would hopefully end years of conflict. The presence of the Blackstar in these talks was a powerful reminder of what humanity had accomplished. Its reputation was not built on fear alone, but on a commitment to justice and an unyielding belief that war could be averted through strength and honor. Back on the bridge of the Blackstar, Commander Reyes looked out at the vast expanse of stars, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. She knew the fight was far from over, peace was fragile, and new challenges awaited. But humanity had stepped into the galactic stage with confidence, ready to protect their place in the universe. The story of the Blackstar was more than a tale of war. It was a testament to what humans could achieve when united by purpose and guided by hope. And as long as the Blackstar sailed among the stars, no enemy would stand a chance against the indomitable spirit of humanity.